Imagine playing a World Cup match in front of 50,000 people, a match you drew 2-2, a match where you scored, a match where you competed at the highest level in world football, and being told, before the final whistle has even cooled, that you need to pack your bags and leave the country. That is what happened to Iran's national team after their opening World Cup game against New Zealand on June 15. And on Thursday, they decided they had taken enough. Iran's Football Federation announced it would be filing a formal complaint with FIFA against the tournament's own organizers and the restrictions being imposed on them by the United States government. This is not a story about football. It is a story about power, politics, and one team fighting for the right to be treated like everyone else at the World Cup. The complaint itself came directly from the Iranian Football Federation on Thursday, June 19. Their spokesman laid out the situation in precise, measured language, the kind of language you use when you are building a formal legal case. Despite having submitted its preparation schedule for the tournament well in advance, Iran's national football team has once again encountered restrictions imposed by the organizers, affecting the implementation of its technical staff's plans, the spokesman said. The specific trigger for the complaint was Iran's second group game, against Belgium in Los Angeles on Sunday, June 21. Iran plays out of their base camp in Tijuana, Mexico. Los Angeles is a short drive away. For any other team, it would be a routine travel day. For Iran, it became a negotiation. Iran wanted to fly from their base camp in Tijuana to the United States 2 days before their match against Belgium. That request was denied. 2 days before a noon kickoff, specifically to allow time to adapt to conditions, complete a final training session, and finish their preparation. Given that the game will be played at 12 p.m. local time in Los Angeles, the Football Federation of Iran requested that the team be allowed to travel to Los Angeles 2 days before the match. The aim was to provide sufficient time for players to adapt to the match conditions, complete their final training session, and finalize preparations. Despite the technical reasons presented by the Federation, the request was once again denied, the spokesman said. Denied, for technical, sporting reasons. By a government that is co-hosting a tournament built on the principle of sporting fairness. And here is where the story gets truly remarkable. Because the person who explained Iran's travel conditions to the world was not a FIFA official. It was not a tournament organizer. It was a White House appointee. Let that settle. The schedule of an international football team at a World Cup was being dictated from the White House. Andrew Giuliani, the executive director of the White House FIFA Task Force, said on Monday that Iran had been informed in advance that they would be allowed to enter the United States only on the day before the game. The team will be allowed to come in, match day -1, so the day before the match, Giuliani told CBS News. They'll be asked to leave the day that the match wraps up, so the evening of the match. He added that the procedure would be the same for Iran's final group game against Egypt in Seattle on June 26. Every match, arrive the day before, leave the same night, cross the border, go back to Tijuana, recover, come back, repeat. This is not how any other team at this World Cup operates. Every other nation staying in US-based camps has access to their training facilities, their hotels, their preparation environment, across the full duration of the group stage. Iran is being asked to perform at the World Cup, the most demanding footballing environment on the planet, while treating each game like a day trip. Iran's federation said visa issues have prevented some 15 administrative and management staff in its delegation from entering the US. 15 people, coaches, analysts, medical staff, federation administrators, gone. Their head coach managing responsibilities that should be spread across an entire support structure. And on top of all of that, before the tournament even began, something even more extraordinary happened to Iran's fan base. Under FIFA rules, every participating nation receives 8% of the available tickets for each of their group matches, to distribute to their own supporters through official federation channels. It is one of the most basic guarantees of the tournament. Your fans get to watch you play. Iran's federation said the United States had revoked its allocation of tickets for all 3 group matches. With less than 3 days remaining until the start of the 2026 World Cup, the United States has once again acted to obstruct the presence of Iranian supporters at the stadiums hosting the national team's 3 group stage matches, the federation said in a statement. 3 days before the tournament. Ticket allocations, already assigned under FIFA protocol, revoked. Think about what that means for an Iranian fan who has spent months planning this, who wanted to be in that stadium when their country played New Zealand, Belgium, Egypt. They were not traveling under any kind of special visa arrangement or diplomatic exception. And their tickets were pulled 3 days before the opening match. Their complaint is the latest dispute related to Iran's participation in the World Cup, following visa issues that Tehran says have prevented some 15 administrative and management staff in its delegation from entering the US. Rising tensions also prompted Iran to announce that it was moving its World Cup training base to the Mexican border city of Tijuana from Tucson in the US state of Arizona, as originally planned. The restrictions Iran is dealing with did not appear suddenly. They are the result of a sequence of political decisions that stretch back months before the tournament started. And the full timeline, from the very first act of obstruction to the formal complaint filed Thursday, tells a story that no World Cup in history has ever produced. It started last December. Iran's Football Federation announced it would boycott the final draw for the 2026 FIFA World Cup after the US denied visas to several senior members of its delegation, describing the US action as non-sporting. According to reports, the United States issued visas to only 4 members of Iran's delegation, with requests for additional visas denied, including one for Iranian Football Federation President Mehdi Taj. Taj, who sits on FIFA's own committees and serves as a vice president of the Asian Football Confederation, could not attend the draw for the tournament his federation would be competing in. Head coach Galanoué attended alone. The Iranian flag was placed for the draw. Life went on, but the message had been sent. Then came February 2026. Iran's participation was thrown into doubt after conflict between the Islamic Republic and the United States began in late February. Iran's sports minister said at one point that under no circumstances could they participate. The Asian Football Confederation stated it had received no notification of withdrawal. FIFA said it expected all teams to fulfill their schedule. It went back and forth for months. Eventually, a compromise was reached: players would be admitted, with staff restrictions. The training base would move to Tijuana. Games would be played in Los Angeles and Seattle as scheduled. The Iranians were also angry that they had to leave Los Angeles the night of their first game of the World Cup, a 2-2 draw against New Zealand. And then, while all of this was being navigated, hours before their first match, something happened that gave the whole situation an almost cinematic quality. A peace deal between the United States and Iran was signed. The war that had threatened Iran's participation was formally over. And that same day, Iran's players boarded buses for Sophie Stadium under strict movement conditions, with a hard deadline to leave the country by nightfall. The war ended. The restrictions didn't. Iran's formal complaint to FIFA puts the governing body in an uncomfortable position. FIFA has consistently said it cannot override host government immigration decisions. That is legally true. FIFA does not control who gets a US visa. FIFA cannot force the White House to allow a football team an extra night in California. But what FIFA can do, what the complaint is designed to force, is a public acknowledgement that one team at this tournament is being treated differently from every other. That the playing field is not level. That preparation conditions that every other squad takes for granted are being denied to Iran on political grounds, not sporting ones. The examples above are proof that a global tournament like the World Cup struggles to coexist with restrictive immigration policies among one of the host countries. Visa denials are breaking the hearts of fans and World Cup staff. Iran's next match is Belgium on June 21 in Los Angeles. Under the current terms, they arrive on the 20th and leave on the 21st. 1 day of preparation for a World Cup match. 1 night's sleep on US soil before facing one of Europe's strongest squads. After that, Seattle on June 26 for the Egypt game. Whether the complaint changes any of that is uncertain. Whether FIFA can, or will, push back on the White House is even more uncertain. What is certain is this: Iran has decided that absorbing the restrictions in silence is no longer an option. They are naming it, putting it on official record with the world's governing body for football. The team that was called the most oppressed at this World Cup by their own coach is now making that claim in writing. And FIFA has to decide what, if anything, it is going to do about it. 2 more matches. 2 more border crossings. 2 more days of arrive, play, leave. And the 2026 World Cup, already the most politically complicated tournament in football history, now has a formal complaint sitting on FIFA's desk. The world is watching. Stay subscribed for every update as this continues to unfold.